The Encyclopedia of Science Fiction by John Clute and Peter Nichols. First edition, 1979. Second edition, 1993. Then, Science Fiction, the Illustrated Encyclopedia by John Clute, 1995. Now, 1996, the Ultimate Encyclopedia of Science Fiction, the Definitive Illustrated Guide by David Pringle. Welcome to Vintage SF. I'm Richard Rempel. Today I was intending to do a book tour of the Ultimate Encyclopedia of Science Fiction, the Definitive Illustrated Guide by David Pringle. But as I was looking through the book itself, I was looking at the pictures and reading the captions, and the captions often were quite funny. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had Jake of Pulp Mortem visit my channel. We reviewed The World of Null A by A.E. Van Vogt. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video. We had a lot of laughs in that video, and as I was looking at these captions, I thought, I wonder if I could get Jake on short notice just to take a look at these pictures and their captions. So I sent him an email, and he stepped up to the plate.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on again?
I love the bookshelves behind you.
I had to cave. I'm sorry, Godzilla. Godzilla's back in storage, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Might feel a little nostalgic for that old background, especially those displays of books, but this is pretty impressive.
I had no options. I was running out of room.
Yeah.
My bookshelf here that nobody can see, but it was like 3 deep with these books. I had them on the floor. There were some in my bedroom. I was like, it's time.
I like that lineup of DAW books there that you have too.
I
Very
know.
nice.
I'm catching up with liminal spaces, but
I don't think you will.
no, I won't.
So we might just include all this in the video, but I'll just say,
Sure.
Hey, welcome, Jake. I put out a call of duty to Jake here.
It's true.
Because I had these crazy, cheeky captions that I was finding in this book over here. And I just thought, who better to chat with about these kind of captions than Jake?
I don't know what you mean by that, but I mean, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to answer the call, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean, sir.
Well, let me show you. Let me see if I can share. I created a little slideshow of these. There's 38 potentially that we can go through here, and that's just
Let's do it.
smattering. So let's see if I can share this here with you. It started off pretty normal here. You know, we're looking at the history of SF, and he talks about Thomas More. Sure looks like more than Moore, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sharp-eyed initiator of the utopian tradition, and so a remote founder of SF. A little earlier than a lot of other people talk about SF, but that's fine. So
It's earlier.
pretty
Yeah.
normal, right?
Mhm.
So then later on, by the way, these are all in order as I found them in the book. We
Okay.
talk about the War of the Worlds that was filmed in 1953. We have here Alien Invasion. Wells' The War of the Worlds, here relocated to America for the 1953 film, was originally a powerful anti-imperialist fable. Huh. Some deep thoughts here.
I know. I definitely love the suction cup fingertips.
Yeah.
I'm
Who knew
waiting
that
for
Mars
us
was
to
based
evolve that. Like, how useful would that be? At least on one hand, but yeah.
Who knew that Mars evolved with a 3-number system for things?
Yeah.
But moving on. Let's get to something that starts to be a little bit more interesting. So, here's the first one where I started to scratch my head a little bit, wondering, what's going on? One of my favorite novels and novelists, John Wyndham, and goes, I want it now. John Wyndham's novel extrapolated the suspicion which all parents have that their children are over-demanding aliens.
Well, do you have kids, Richard?
I do.
Over demanding, yes. Aliens?
So it's getting a
Well,
little interesting here. And honestly, the novel doesn't really read like that.
um, yeah. Well, to be fair, when my son was first born, there was something otherworldly about him, just in physical appearance. He was kind of a freak looking thing. So was I at the time. Actually, I was twisted in my mother's womb, as so I was told. I don't really recall that much about it. But yeah, I guess my feet were over my head, and every time they would lower them back down, they would spring back up. And so yeah, I was had a severely pigeon-toed childhood.
All right. So are you still flexible?
Shockingly flexible for a large man.
Good, 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 good.
Yes.
That's a question I didn't expect to ask.
Well, now we know it's out there.
Here we go. All right. Wetware by Rudy Rucker. I've never really heard of this guy or read any of his stuff. But
Uh-uh.
then I was looking at this, it looks pretty typical for cyberpunk. And then we got to the caption here. Um, Actually, I'm going to have to move this a little bit. I have my own guy in the way
Uh,
here.
I can
But
see it. Do you want me to read the caption?
yeah, why don't you read it?
Hardware versus wetware. The trouble with real intelligence is that brains are so squishy and yucky, but computers can't wear low cut dresses. What?
Not quite as serious as some of the previous ones, is it?
No, brains are so squishy and yucky. I'm trying to who wrote this? I
Okay.
didn't see the
I
cover.
think David Pringle is the guy who is the head editor. I'm pretty sure that he did these. He's a Scottish guy. We're talking about humor from across the Atlantic. I don't know if you ever watch
Mm-mm.
any panel shows from the
Uh-uh.
UK, like Taskmaster or
Mm-mm.
Would You Lie to Me? Something like that. I can't remember what their names
No,
are.
but this, I'm trying to imagine who's writing brains are so squishy and yucky, but computers can't wear low cut dresses. What a conundrum.
It gets better. Along the same lines here, we have a magazine from quite a few years ago, and it talks
Yeah,
about sound asleep beauty queens who were put into suspended animation for hundreds of thousands of years naturally wore their bathing suits.
that's true.
Yeah, I think
That's a
the movie
great
Alien.
pulpy little cover,
Yeah, I think the movie Alien proved that as well.
as per. Yep.
Yeah, and now we're getting
Uh,
into a little bit of dad humor, some puns here.
I see it.
Go ahead, why don't you read this one?
You gort to be joking.
Oh, that
No
is
one who
so
has seen
bad.
the day, that's so bad. No one who
If
has seen the day the earth stood still can forget the iconic figure of the giant robot Gort here in the company of Patricia Neal and Michael Rene.
so, the author went there. He had to go
Uh,
there.
he
I'm
didn't
starting to
have
get the point across here that this book, is like, I don't know, 300 pages or so. I'm about 20 pages in and I'm going, I want to read every caption now. All right, our next one. E.T., very famous. He starts it off with, Are you talking to me? Like,
I don't even get it.
well, it's not like E.T. is gangster or something like that here. Uh,
Picking a fight. Talking to me.
so I don't know. It becomes a little bit more threatening when you start with, Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Actually, that might make for a better movie if E.T. was a little more, losing it a bit, kind of fed up with society. Did they spell Elliot properly?
Oh, let's see back here.
I can't remember if it was two L's and two T's, or if that's
Yeah,
a
I have no
typo.
clue.
Hmm.
Do you remember this film, The
Of course I
Fly?
do. This one
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
How about you read this one?
Fingers crossed. Jeff Goldblum pauses for thought, as it proves not long enough in David Cronenberg's fine chiller, The Fly.
So probably maybe should
Uh,
have rethought about that. transport that teleportation.
No,
Now, to be fair, he didn't know there was a fly in there.
no, how is he to know? And I'm sure he
Yeah,
didn't. He didn't watch the original, so how is he to know?
yeah, exactly. It wasn't around in this universe.
That's true.
Here's a classic movie.
Whoa.
That's Jeff Goldblum again there in the blue and his wife, Gina Davis, in this movie. But let's get to this. Aliens don't shave. Gina Davis and the three aliens in action in Earth Girls Are Easy, 1988, a triumph of good humor over taste, plot structure, and most other generally accepted cinematic virtues.
I I never saw Earth Girls Are Easy, but I think I kind of want to now.
You can probably guess that it may not be exactly a classic in filmmaking.
No, but boy, those suits are awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
You've seen these guys?
Oh yeah.
Uh, in their sometimes in the book they had this graphic design where they had pixelated areas on the picture. So that's what's going on in the
Yeah.
top there. It's not like there's
Well,
something bad to see there.
it's like why what do we not know about these two foreheads that we have pixelated?
But here's his caption. Bad hair
Yeah.
day. Dr. David Banner left, in case you didn't know, comes face to face
Yeah.
with his alter ego, the Incredible Hulk, in the same TV series of the same name. So bad hair day is what he came up with for this one.
Wow. That's yeah, those old Hulk episodes are hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. So this one here is just simply commenting that the ray gun, no hero on early TV SF, was properly dressed without one.
That's a cool looking ray gun, isn't it?
It is.
Harry Cornick Jr. here is all upset. He got snubbed at the Grammys, so he's showing up with his ray gun. It looks just like him.
This becomes a theme throughout the book. We're up to page 125, about a third of the way through. Every time we see a ray gun in somebody's hand, he comments about it. So
Well, to be fair, the ray gun distracted from his collar.
that was quite the costume, wasn't it?
Mm.
And the second thing that he comments on all the time is that there's a bemused expression, necessary equipment for actors in TV SF shows. So, so in further pictures, we'll see this bemused expression.
Is it though? Is it?
You know what? Let's go back to it. Maybe
'Cause
the guy who's sort of the monster or warped here is the other guy looks a little scared to me.
he looks scared and the monster looks in pain.
Yeah.
No, neither of these guys look bemused to me. Oh,
Well, we'll just have to disagree with David Pringle here.
sorry, Pringle.
This is from a classic Twilight Zone episode that I've talked about a few times. In fact, the very first video of my channel was a little takeoff on this.
Hmm.
But what I like is this. I'll give you this caption. Go for it.
The sin of science. Intellectuals contemplating the specter of nuclear holocaust tended to wring their hands.
He doesn't look too concerned, does he?
He looks more like, I never thought of that before. Let's give it a try.
People are gone. And in
Oh,
this episode, he's like, I have time enough at last to read.
right? It's nice and quiet.
Yeah, I can go to the library and get as many books as I want.
This is great, actually. Yeah, there's no hand wringing in that scene. Oh, yes.
Look at these boys.
Oh, yes.
Not so special effects. TVSF's low budgets meant that many of the Outer Limit monsters were more comical than frightening.
Okay, not even exaggerating. Their faces. Did you ever watch that DreamWorks movie Ants with a Z? It came
Yes.
out the same time that Bugs Life. It was like DreamWorks like, no, we can compete with Pixar. It looks just like all of their faces.
Yeah. Oh, I love how that one guy's staring right at the camera there too.
I know. It's like, don't look at the camera. Stop it. That's acting 101, you idiot.
I gave you a preview of this when I was talking about coming on the channel here to talk about these. This is from something called Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. And I think this is going to remind us of something that happens in another TV show. Actually, probably a few. On the bridge, Richard Basehart and David Hedison confront the unknown from the relative safety of the standing set, ever ready to lurch sideways if the director should decide to wobble the camera.
That's true. Whoa, whoa.
Now, there we go. Oh,
Ooh, just got shot by aliens. Ooh, we're okay.
yeah.
I mean, everything's sparking around us, but that's
Or in
fine.
Star Trek, if you're hit by photon torpedoes or something.
And just kind of lean against the console.
Yeah. And then there'd also be sparks coming out of the console.
Yeah. That was one thing I accepted as a kid. But even as a kid, I was like, move your ship. Like they're always like, fire back. But my first thing would be like, move it a little bit. And it's always stationary. But I understood. Even as a kid, I understood the budgetary restraints.
I don't know if have you ever seen these guys?
No. Is
No.
this Team America?
No, it's not Team America. That was inspired by this. This is I think it's Thunderbirds Go. Thunderbirds Are Go. It's called Super Marionation, and they had these shows in Britain, uh, science fiction type shows with these guys in there. So, swollen heads. The ever modest brain, probably the only member of the team who actually needed one. This is for our UK fans. How about this one? Do you recognize this TV show?
No.
It's from something
Oh.
called The Wild Wild West. There was a movie made of it later on,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like these CIA secret agents in in the old West who had future technology all the time.
All I know is that movie was awful.
It was bad. Gadgets always looked more convincing when no one knew what they were actually for.
That gadget is pretty dang cool though. Like if
Yeah.
that's like a centerpiece. Like forget vases and flower arrangements and I would have that on my coffee table 100%. Yeah.
What do you think it did in the show?
That oh I I have no idea.
You know, I have a dim memory of them actually trying to stop a nuclear explosion in the Old West, and I think that was the bomb.
So
I don't
the
know.
Old
Maybe
West
somebody
had
watching
nuclear
knows
capabilities.
maybe somebody watching
it'll
knows
be in
their
the
Wild
chat
Wild
for
West
sure.
and could tell us.
It'll be in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gadget's awesome.
How
Yeah, it's
about
the
these
boys there.
boys?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Couldn't be bothered to lift a dumbbell once, but here they are.
take a look at what it says about them.
Batman and Robin never worried unduly about getting muddy footprints on the Batmobile's upholstery.
They're always standing on the seats coming into the car.
Always that car is awesome, though. The original Batmobile.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Did
not
you ever
really
have
the original.
Did you ever have World of Wheels come to your town and it was always advertising that they had the Batmobile?
No,
Oh,
no, never did. But no, that's awesome. That is one of the most hilarious movie, the most unintentionally comedic movie, the Batman series movie.
hmm
I can't remember when it came out. One of the most line for line, unintentionally hilarious movies of all time.
It was the definition of campy.
Oh man.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure why, but I think David Pringle has a little problem with Star Trek because every time there's a Star Trek picture, there's some sort of a weird caption with it. So here we got this one. I'll let you read this one too.
The crew of the Enterprise. In future paramilitary organizations, round shoulders will not prevent a man rising to the rank of captain, and no one will ever stand to attention. Why is he making fun of his shoulder sloop?
And I never really thought of these guys as a paramilitary organization here. It's not exactly
No.
how they advertise Star Trek.
I guess they do have military ranks or
Yeah.
naval ranks, but no, that of course they're not good at standing to attention. But I mean, Come on, there were also, Christmas tree lights in their consoles. Like, cut them some slack. We're on a shoestring budget. And we have 4 days to get this episode out.
This is not a very well-known show. Well, I'm
Uh-uh.
guessing you can probably guess what it's about, but but the the caption is "Look down in anger. If you can't see your own toes, you're either too fat or trapped in a TVSF show."
But he doesn't look angry.
No, he's an invisible man,
Yeah.
but he's got great hair
Oh man, he looks like liminal space. Not to call back to earlier, but that's liminal spaces all over again. Look at
after he shaved.
that. After he shaved, that's a young liminal spaces.
I if I
Uh,
This guy kind of looks like a guy who was in another TV show, a spy TV show called The Man from Uncle. People in the comments, you can let me know if I'm right.
okay.
All right. We don't need a real close up of the Invisible Man here. This is from one of those TV shows that I really like from Britain called Space 1999.
Oh,
And
okay.
it goes, "Arr! All writers of TVSF needed to master this useful item of dialogue. More as can be added if necessary." I don't know. I don't think I hear a lot of args.
No, it's not at all what I see. This looks like she's clearly screaming
Yeah.
and
This
he's
capsule of the
taking,
spaceship is burning. So I'm not sure about this one either. I think he's trying to be funny.
yeah.
This one, I'll give this one to you. But see in the background before we zoom in, Department of Public Control.
So pretty much any government organization at this moment. Useful acronyms. In 1990, the government department illustrated here was known as the PCD. DNA presumably still stood for National Dyslexic Association.
Do you get it?
Oh, I get it, but it's like,
Questionable.
oh man, he's really trying.
I mean, this is
This might
supposed
be
to be.
trying too hard.
I thought this was a serious, encyclopedia of science fiction here, because Department of Public Control you'd think is DPC, and he calls it PCD, so it's Public Control Department, right? But then
Yeah.
he throws in this DNA and dyslexic comment.
Well,
You ever seen these guys?
I've seen these guys. Yep.
This was the Battlestar Galactica from the
Hmm.
1970s. I think this observation is true. Cloak and Dagger. Most TV SF shows assume that spacefaring folk of the far future will have no dress sense at all.
Yeah, that's true. These guys got style. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
To pull off
Cape.
that cape, that little miniature, mini skirt length cape,
Yeah.
that's got style and confidence.
Yeah. You would think that, it's pretty much temperature controlled inside of spaceships.
Yeah, and the knee-high leather boots. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So he takes it a little further. Here's the sequel to it. Striking a pose. Most TVSF shows assume that spacefaring folk with no dress sense will also be a teensy weensy bit camp.
Just a teensy weensy.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
that look at that actor. He just does not care.
Here's another one that has a sequel to it. Uh, this was from a very serious show in the 1980s, a movie about what would happen if a nuclear war hit United States. And
I've seen this. What is this called?
I think it's called The Day After. But it,
Yeah.
it was very scary. Like it potentially influenced policy in the United States because of how scary it was about nuclear war.
Hmm.
But read this caption here.
Nuclear Holocaust, U.S. version. For once, the protagonist of a TV show is fully entitled to look gloom. He still wears a tie, though.
All
What?
right. Ah, sort of a weird comment,
But
but there you
like,
have it.
if you just are wandering out in the middle of a nuclear explosion, like the last thing you're going to be thinking of is, should I take my tie off?
So here's the sequel to this. On the very next page, it goes, shows this guy here. I probably don't have to zoom in. You probably can read this one.
I can see it. When it comes to looking gloom, Britons are best. They also have the sense to throw away their ties.
What?
What? It's, he's looking for jokes and creating jokes that are just not there.
And this guy's got little dolls here too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what show this is from.
Melted
I'm
his little
interested.
Star Wars figurines.
Do you say gloom? Because I usually would say glum.
Glum's probably right. Like there's no secret. I mispronounce words literally all the time. So
Oh, my
probably.
viewers told me about some of the words I mispronounced, including one of my favorite authors. I used to say Windham, although it's Wyndham.
Oh, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, you guys have just read it too, so
that's right. So
unless you've met him,
this is a UK show that was on about a novel I read recently called Firstborn. But the caption here is, "It's that scowl again. The baby won't let him get a wink of sleep." This is
see, I would
about
have. Go ahead.
this is about like a hybrid ape human. But this is what he puts in here.
You see, I would have made there's if you see the ape in the background, that's where the joke is, right?
There's got
That's
to be
where I
some
would
sort of
have.
a ape monkey kind of joke, right?
Yeah.
Here's an all-American series. Did you watch this one?
Mhm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a little bit blurry here, but it says useful advice. It's bad enough bouncing around in time without having some loudly dressed big mouth other people can't see dogging your every step. That's pretty much actually a good synopsis of that show, I think.
It really is. Well, that show had there's some banned episodes in that show.
Quantum Leap is the name of this
Quantum
show.
Leap. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we don't need to zoom in there. There we go.
That's the man.
Yeah, he's looking good there. Star-crossed lovers. Lois demonstrates her button-ripping skills in order to display Clark's best feature, his remarkable ability to hide the obvious.
See, that actually might have been a caption that I wrote.
Oh, I always did wonder why people couldn't recognize Superman when he was the reporter. It's a little obvious.
It's a little obvious. Like, look at me.
Oh, where's Jake? There he is.
He's back.
He's back. What did you do with that other guy?
I've heard people make the argument that they're like, well, Robert Downey Jr. once got second place in a Robert Downey Jr. lookalike contest. And so there is that. Yeah, no, he's definitely Superman.
All right, back to Star Trek. Voyager. Voyager into the unknown, or in the unknown. Any resemblance between the good ship Voyager and a club-footed cuttlefish swimming backwards is purely coincidental. All right, question is, right? What's a club-footed cuttlefish swimming backwards look like? Here we go.
Cuttlefish. Yep. I was hoping you'd bring up a cuttlefish.
Yeah.
Club-footed.
So this means, I guess that's what they think those nacelles at the back are club-footed.
But the thing is, cuttlefish, they do crawl forward, but when they're actually swimming quickly, they go backwards naturally.
I didn't know that.
Like just like a squid will. They'll.
Okay. They look like a squid. Here, you got this one.
Irwin Allen, producer of Schlock SF for American TV. Some of it fondly remembered by those who were very young at the time. That's kind of a dig, isn't it?
It's a dig,
He made some
definitely.
he made some stuff that you guys liked when you didn't have any taste.
That's right. You didn't know what was good, so you enjoyed it. I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of stuff. Anyways, why not a little bit of popcorn in what you view?
Why not? Have some fun with it. Don't
Yeah.
take yourself so seriously.
All right. I think he, I think you really gave it to this writer. Uh, I'll let you read this one too.
Stephen Baxter, master of old-fashioned sense of wonder SF, has proven the adage "they don't write them like that anymore" is false. Yep, that's definitely a dig, isn't it?
It definitely
Um,
is. I wouldn't be happy if I was Stephen Baxter.
I wouldn't be happy. Also, I would have told Steven, like, hey, the comb over at this point is just not working, bud. Like you gotta pick a lane at this point.
So I don't remember the scene, although I've seen the Alien movies. Curtain
Yeah.
call, one of the monsters from Alien 3 in a parody of the shower scene from Hitchcock's Psycho.
I don't remember this either.
Yeah. I don't
Although
remember.
I was bored stiff at Alien 3.
I just don't think that there was parodies in it. But maybe it was. Here's the one I sent you. I think this one's for you. Our
You
good
sent me this
friend
one.
Kirk.
Captain Cliche. Okay. All American hero, Captain James T. Kirk, in quotes, Canadian born William Shatner. Later captains in Star Trek spin off series have been a bald Britisher, a black man, a white woman. Who will be next? A black woman or an alien?
Have you watched Discovery?
No, but I am familiar with it. That's why I have not watched it. Um,
Well,
what
in
is he
that show they
talking
have
about?
both.
They do have both. Yeah, so prophetic, but what is he trying to say here by saying Captain Cliche?
Once
But it's
again, I
also
think
not.
he's got something against Star Trek, I think.
I think so. But maybe
Anyway,
he can't even formulate it.
so let's
Bald British or a black man. I'm actually pretty sure Cisco was a commander from DS9, not a captain. I might be wrong about that, but
one
he
more
might just
Star
be a
Trek.
commander. Oh boy.
The popular Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, complete with beetle haircut and flame-tipped ears. Fair, I
Uh,
guess,
I suppose. I mean, it's
but it's still
okay.
a shot.
It's a shot, and it's a C grade joke, but it's passable.
Yeah. Why is it in the book though? I have
Why
no
is it in the
clue.
book though?
All right. Oh, let me back up here. Familiar with Watchmen?
Yep.
He's respectful to the Watchmen, but he takes a shot here at the end.
Yeah. Great
Great graphic.
graphics. Oh,
Go
go
for it.
ahead. Great graphics. With its sophisticated text, The Watchmen became the most famous of all SF graphic novels, comic books with thick spines.
Okay.
Okay,
Unnecessary.
exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Just
What are
not
you saying?
necessary, I think. Tall, dark, and consummate evil. He is a little bit more respectful to Star Wars. This is the only one I threw in here. He had one where they were in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and it said, "Four forceful friends." So he sort of just went to the dad pun type things for these.
Get it? Because of the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last one we'll do. So this is a magazine. I'm assuming that it was about the special effects in SF films and TV shows primarily.
Okay.
But here's what the caption was. Gloss. It appears that the letters SFX don't stand for anything, but do look a bit like sex. Okay.
Okay.
There might have been a point in the graphic design, but
Maybe.
but
Maybe
not
with
really the
Mulder's.
point of the magazine.
No, with Mulder's head there, like it was just like if you look at her knee, his
Yeah.
backside, they're framed perfectly. Like this is how it's going to look. I don't think they were purposefully like, hey, let's have his head obscure. But his head is also, I mean, there's a good like 4 inches there. It's not obscuring. It
Yeah.
says SFX, but
They probably looked for the special issue that had somebody's head in the way of it.
yeah, exactly.
Any clue, or would you be surprised that those kind of pictures would be in the ultimate encyclopedia of science fiction, the definitive illustrated guide?
I think I would be, to be honest. Like some of those are just like very, very obscure. Yeah, and obviously I haven't seen the full, unless those were all the pictures there, like from sequentially. But like, it seems like some odd choices. Like this is just what he wanted to have shoved in there. Because I
Yeah.
have a few, I don't have them with me, but that are like kind of the history and the encyclopedia of science fiction, like a visual guide and a visual aid that
Yeah.
are
I got a few
very
of those back
thorough.
here.
Yeah, I have two of those. Yeah, and very thorough, very like well documented, very factual. Not a whole lot of puns and jokes because they're busy being informative.
Now, I haven't read very much of this book at all. I read a little bit of the introduction and then I started getting carried away with the captions. Uh,
Mhm.
the rest of the book actually seems to be serious about what it's doing and giving some summaries of, bios of people and and movie summaries, etc. But just some queer choices here in the in the captions.
He's having fun with himself. I like it.
Yeah.
I approve of having fun. They did
Yep.
not all land, but
And I'm guessing he did it because he's the editor. I mean, wouldn't he have taken them out if that was a
oh,
problem?
I'm sure. I'm sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks for having me. Anytime. Anytime you need me to look at some weird pictures.
if you're still curious about this book, you can see that it's about, let's see here. We're at 304 pages long, and it's a picture book. It's got all these entries in here, but they're very short entries. This book is copyright 1996, so all the authors, films, TV shows that are referred to are prior to that. And here we have the table of contents. But I find that the back of the book actually does a better job of summarizing what is in this book. So let's just go to the back of the book. Alien encounters, body-snatching plant life, super-intelligent obelisks, paranoid androids, and an ultra-violent aficionado of Beethoven. There is enough variety in the ultimate encyclopedia of science fiction to keep you entertained and intrigued for light years. The following are the chapters within this coffee table-sized book. Astounding stories, an investigation of the themes and genres found in SF stories. This section includes cyberpunk classics, traditional space operas, Mars tales, and robot stories. You will also find every major SF author here, from Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, and Arthur C. Clarke, to Kurt Vonnegut, H.G. Wells, and Roger Zelazny. They came from Hollywood. A close-up of the seminal SF movies, from Blade Runner to Zardoz. The section will include information-packed box-outs with enough detail to satiate the most avid fan. Classics such as Star Wars 2001 and those low-budget horror SF gems are featured. This is the place to look for the most detailed, accurate, and up-to-date listing of classic SF celluloid ever, at least up to 1996. TV 2000, a comprehensive survey of SF radio and TV broadcasts, revealing the names of all those characters you'd forgotten you'd known and charting the fantastic historical events, such as the mass panic started by Orson Welles with his War of the Worlds broadcast. The SF Files. This Who's Who is a quick reference guide to writers, directors, animators, actors, screenwriters, producers, and artists who have taken SF from pulp fiction status to multi-million-dollar industry. Heroes and Villains. An A to Z of science fiction characters from Batman to Doctor Who and beyond. The good, the bad, and the ugly of the SF universe are all featured in this quick reference guide to the inhabitants of every form of entertainment the genre has to offer. Propaganda, a look at the influential magazines that have helped shape SF while serving the devoted fans. And Glossary, warp drive, cyberspace, sonic screwdriver. If there's one thing that SF is big on, it's jargon. Become an expert in minutes with this in-depth glossary. Thanks again to Jake for joining me on this episode.
And as always, keep reading.